We make sure I haven't screwed up the settings. Grab the headset again real quick. We'll pop over to X/Twitter and see if people can hear me. Sounds good. Cool deal. Now I don't have to wear these. Out freaking standing. Hey, everybody. Sam Quinton with Sonoma Publishing right here in Frankfort, Kentucky. We've got a few things to talk about tonight. It's our weekly stream live at 9 on Sundays. That's probably what I should call it now that I think about it. We're going to try and make sure we do this every week, although next week we may be a little late as we are going to be at convention in Lexington. Now that con should let us out by about 6, so hopefully we make it back on time, and if so, we'll do a little bit of an after-action report regarding the convention. Now, what is going on? Well, we have the lettered pages in for Reign of Ages issue 4. I this past week has been something. I had ended up having to have dental surgery, and then of course shot a video while I was slightly incapacitated from pain medication. I'm sure that was funny for a lot of people. But I left it up because, you know, why not leave your embarrassing moments on the internet, right? But I hope to finish that up tonight. I've been working on the Kickstarter campaign, and we are getting ready for the Lexington Game Convention on Friday, Saturday, and Sunday of this week, the 15th, 16th, and 17th. So one of the things that we're going to talk about today is we're going to talk about the con prep. We're going to talk about the crowdfunding. We're going to talk a little bit about the book. And so hopefully this will help some of you who actually like to support books, some of you who are making your own books, and hopefully this will be of some use to you. But we're also going to talk about another couple of things before we close out at the end. And we'll also take questions via the chat. So this should be picking up everything on YouTube and Twitter/X. If I did it right. So here's hoping. All right, so what we're going to talk about tonight. Let me go ahead and take these off until we have some people chatting. The first thing we're going to go on is about the coming convention. So we got two small tables in the lobby as people are walking in. So people literally walk right in when they first come into the convention, and we're right there in that space. So this is really good. It is restricted to people who are making their own stuff. And then, of course, also the Kentucky Ghostbusters have their dedicated space there as well. Love those guys. They're fantastic. With that, we've got two tables. And so I will have myself, and then my youngest child will be there Saturday and Sunday. They are side by side. So Friday I'll be manning them solo. That's going to be exciting. But looking at the convention is very, very well priced for its size. And it's a small con, but the booth price is very, very, very reasonable. So I'm just going to go on. We're going to give you some hard numbers to work. Well, we'll give you some ranges, I guess, to work with. Probably be a better way to do this. So for two small tables in really good position, we are just under $200. Going to Lexington back and forth for the next few days, we're probably going to use, at current gas prices, probably about $50 in gas. Now, the materials that we're bringing are all stuff that we had printed in the past that were already applied on last year's taxes. So their cost has already been basically zeroed out in our accounting. So that's good from the bookkeeping standpoint. Basically, what we are doing here is we're going to try to sell $400 over 3 days, which doesn't sound like a lot, and it really isn't. I think that we can probably reach as high as 500, but we'll see. We've been to this show several years. Several of the books we have been bought by people at this show already. So there's opportunity to expand sales into other title lines, certainly. So we're bringing all of the comics, and we're bringing the 2 RPG books that we have in print, and then a little bit of all of our art prints. Now, That having been said, our art prints did very, very well for us at Lexington Toy and Comic Festival. Um, for those of you who are new, I get my art prints in 11 by 17 size, and we print them through Mixam, usually in bulk orders of 500 or 1,000, what have you. Now, this has a few advantages. One, it lets us distribute the art cost across a larger range, so it reduces our cost per unit. Now, this is kind of dry, maybe not very exciting, but basically, by doing that, we can usually get our cost per print under $2. And sometimes on larger press runs, certainly like on 1,000 print run, we can get our cost per unit under a dollar per unit. And we sell them usually at $10 to $15, depending on what the cost is for the booth space we rent. Because in the bigger scheme of things about this, in the direct application of finding where our profits are, we have to immediately, of course, recoup not just our cost of our booth, but also the cost per unit. And so if I've got something that I can be at 3 days for, in this case, like $250, then we can certainly manage $10 per art print. Likewise, with the Lexington Toy and Comic Festival over 4 days, where our booth cost was, $1,500, with the higher level of traffic, we can also manage that because we can expect to have multiple opportunities to sell to people. So you're going to find as you're making your own appearances at conventions that engaging with the public, sometimes you'll have a ratio of maybe one sale out of 10 or one sale out of 20 or one sale out of 5. It really kind of depends on what you're selling and what your price point is. I tend to stay at the highest quality that I can produce and the lowest price points I can reasonably manage. And so getting these prints out, and also to a similar extent the comics at a reasonable price point, is a great way to be. Now, there is an argument to be made that by pricing at like comic store prices or regular storefront prices, that maybe I come in at a price that's low enough that people wonder about the quality of that. We typically let people flip through our books. We let people, check out our mugs. Product placement, everybody. And of course, also have people holding and checking out our art prints. And of course, bagging and boarding everything to protect their treasures goes a long way to maintaining goodwill with the people you're selling to. And in any kind of business, the goodwill of your customers cannot be overstated as far as how important it is. Having customers who come back and support your business time after time, year after year, that is without a doubt one of the most, if not the most important thing in maintaining your cash flow. Customer loyalty, customer satisfaction. You need that in order to make things happen. So always strive to do that. So with this particular convention, we're going to set up, like I said, we're in that lobby area. So we have small tables. We don't have a lot of space behind us. So we're going to forego our usual grid wall panel where we can display stuff. And so we're going to use the second table where my daughter is at for stuff like some of the art prints, and then of course also for like the buttons and the mugs, stuff like that she really loves to sell, and then some of the smaller art prints. So she's going to be working that, and then I'll be working comics and role playing game books, and we'll basically be a team. We'll basically continue our efforts to bring cool Sinopa stuff to the world, one customer at a time if need be, right? So really looking forward to that. Now the the thing that this will also do is this will give us a nice opportunity to interact with the public. So I am hoping to have the Reign of Ages issue 4 Kickstarter campaign submitted for approval either tonight or tomorrow morning. And then with that, we will take and produce a QR code for people to go to the pre-launch site to sign up, and we will target a launch date of the 21st for the go live, and we'll be live for 10 days to raise our goal. Okay. I guess this is where we're going to segue into the crowdfunding. Okay. So let me get my glasses again real quick so I can see to share this, because it's going to be a thing. And welcome to our first visitors, guys. Glad to have you. So we're going to do a little quick screen share here. And we're going to find the Kickstarter. All right. So what you're seeing here is the Reign of Ages issue for preview. I haven't built out a lot of this. We are going to just go with the bare minimum goal for this project, which is $1,000. And where that number comes from is we are all, well, back up a minute. This book is done. Our cover artists are paid. Our letterer is paid. Nick Capone and I collaborated on this, so neither one of us has been paid at all. But we get paid in surplus books, basically, is how we get our money. Because we'll get these books printed, and then we'll sell them at convention appearances, use them for future campaigns, things of that nature. Now, with that, we have our $1,000 goal. We'll go ahead and get everything set up for our individual reward tiers and everything. Get the usual Kickstarter build, your add-ons for additional copies. We'll have like an introductory tier where everyone can get the PDFs real easy, all that kind of thing. I will be uploading the PDF for fulfillment purposes to Drive-Thru RPG, Drive-Thru Comics, the Drive-Thru environment, probably the last day of the campaign, so that we can have that in and ready to go when we execute fulfillment. I would like to have the digital rewards fulfilled the day the campaign ends. I don't want anyone waiting any longer than necessary. And I would like to actually be able to put in the order for the books the last day of the campaign. I'll probably use that on the Sinopa credit line or credit card, one or the other. And we'll use that to get the books in as quickly as possible and start getting them out as quickly as possible. So if we're able to order these books on the last day of the campaign, we should actually be able to begin shipping them to backers before Kickstarter has the money to us. But we'll be able to see in the tool set who has paid and who hasn't. We'll be able to make sure that we have all of our stuff out there. Now, the one question is, are we going to do late pledges? That's a really good question. I am looking at it. I'm going to talk to a few people who have done late pledges, see what they think about it, see what the ramifications are with regard to the payment schedule and all that, and make sure that we can get everything out and done. But this book is really cool. Let me go ahead and stop sharing real quick. Give you an idea. I did test prints on my printer at the house. So this is not at all the quality that you're going to see in the book. The quality in the book is far, far higher. But fantastic art by Nick Capone. He really, 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 really nailed it on this. And of course, to Taylor Esposito, who does our lettering, absolutely fantastic. And we've got gorgeous covers by Walter Giovanni with colors by Nick Capone, and then by Aisha Gulsanev as well, who is our cover A artist for this entire arc. So really, really looking forward to getting to show those off. I will hopefully be finished with the formatting tonight, is my hope, because I want to go ahead and order the proof copies. If I can get the proof copies ordered tomorrow, I may be able to have them in even before, possibly before the launch day. I would love to have those in hand so that we could kind of show those off a little bit. I think that would be really, really, really freaking awesome. But fingers crossed, right? Now, oh man, I think I'll send the proof copies to Walter and to Nick, and then to Taylor. And if I can get a good address for Aisha, I'll send one to her, but it won't be there in time for her do any promotion on it or anything because of the 10-day campaign window, and then also the fact that she lives in another country. So the restrictions on international mail would mean that it would probably take a month and a half for her to get there, for her copy to get there. I guess I should say. I do want to send her a copy though. She definitely needs to get a comp copy on that so she can see her work in print. The cool thing about crowdfunding is that it helps fill the gap in the financials on your project. So for this one, we originally launched this in 2024, and the campaign failed to fund. Now we were right around the time of the 2024 presidential election, and so traffic was not great. And then this relaunch should bring us easily into our funding goal. We had a lot of people who've enjoyed the book through conventions, a lot of people who've ordered it and downloaded it online. So hopefully, with the larger crowd, we'll be able to really enjoy bringing this book to new readers, right? So we do have a little tribute in here to the creator of Dragon Ball. When we first were working on the script, it was right around the time he had passed. And so we have, again, this is just a home printer. So we have a little scene in here kind of dedicated to his storytelling with a tribute text to him. So definitely look forward to checking that out. Nick is going to be getting the script for issue 5 probably while this campaign is live. And our hope is to get issue 5 done and then out to crowdfunding, funded, printed, and shipped this year as well. And then issue 6 script will be going to Paul Walcott. We'll get some of those pages knocked out. And then with that one, we will probably have to shoot for a higher goal because it's going to be a much higher page count. And so fund that to get it completely funded and then fulfilled. But that's probably the end of this year, early 2027. So we'll see how that works out. The cool thing too when you're doing crowdfunding is that one, you tend to start to collect a little bit of a fan base if you're actually being sincere and delivering on your campaign promises. And the one thing I can give as a great piece of advice to any creator, as far as for building up a fan base, is under promise, over deliver. Okay, make sure that if you say, "Hey, this is going to be a 24-page book," that it is 24 pages, and make sure that the art is as good as it can be. Don't tell someone, "Hey, this is going to be the best art you've ever seen, and it's going to be 100 pages," and then deliver them 100 pages with 16 pages of ads and art that's mediocre. Don't do that bullshit. People are going to take that personally. They're not going to want to support your projects in the future. You're going to give yourself a bad reputation, and you're going to hurt the reputation of crowdfunding in general, which a lot of us depend on to make our stuff and to pay our people fairly. So just don't do it, okay? All right, cool. So guys, for watching this, thanks for tuning in with us. If you have any questions, I should see them whether you're posting them on YouTube or Twitter. So feel free to plug them in if you got any questions for me. With the other thing too is that when you're doing your crowdfunding, even if you've done 20 or more like I have, you need to go in and do your research, okay? So one of the things I check pretty frequently is on our printing costs and other production costs. So I have got this. Let me make sure I don't have this logged in because I don't want to give away my credentials. Hold on a second. Okay. Plug in these details real quick. 500 satin paper, 80-pound text. It's Staple 24 pages. Cover, we're doing 110 pound cover, I think, for. Or we're doing 100-pound cover. I think we're doing 100-pound cover for Reign of Ages. And then soft touch lamination, or we'll do matte lamination for this one. Yeah, okay, cool deal. So, cool deal. So what I've got here is a quick calculation. Now this does not include my company discount, which has, it seems, been temporarily disabled. Like we didn't order any press runs last year, so I've got to reach back out to Mixam and get that reinstated. But this is share screen, Mixam. All right, cool deal. So what you're seeing here is the interface with Mixam for this particular product, these particular stats, and this particular price point. Now, we get in here real quick and we'll show you what we're looking at. We are doing paperback, obviously, for comics. We're looking at 500 copies. Now, obviously, if we print more, our price per unit comes down. As it is at 500, we're almost $2 a book. We are at grayscale interiors because this is a black and white book. Portrait orientation, of course, because landscape is the long ways. Our paper type is the satin, which we like, in the 80-pound text, same one we use for all of the Sinopa books so far. Our binding, this is very important to distinguish. Staples usually good up to about 80 pages or so in my experience. I think, though, that if you're going to do anything above 60, I would probably do perfect bound, just by nature of the quality of it, okay? Because the stapling can get a little rough with any printer. Now, Mixam does it fine, don't get me wrong, but I just think that at 60 or higher, I like a perfect bound book. Our page count's correct. We've got our cover, full color, 100 pounds, and our finishing as matte lamination. Cool deal. So we've got everything set correctly. We've got our estimate in, $858 for 500 copies. So a little under $2 a book. So what that would do is that would mean that we could then take and charge, like I said, the usual Kickstarter rate varies for black and white books. We're usually about $10. And what that does is that helps us recover the costs for things like the cover art and the lettering and things like that. We're going to have a $1,000 goal because we're not going to earn back all of our printing costs. We're going to basically use $1,000 to earn back the price point that was paid from Nick Capone to pay for Walter for his cover. And then I'll make my money back that I paid for the lettering and the Ashley Wilson Nev cover through the sale of books. But what that means is that we also have to look at the possibility that we might need to go as high as like 1,000 copies. So if we had like say like a $3,000 campaign or $5,000, we'll say $5,000 campaign, then we would probably actually order 1,000 copies of the issue. Not much savings at this level, still like $1.50 per book, but that would free up a lot more books for us to go ahead and sell at subsequent events and everything. That's a big deal because when you're looking at like in-person sales at like $5 or $10 or whatever it is you're selling them at, that gives you your money that you're paying back your booth appearances, that you're paying for the stuff that you ship to. This is also something that's going to be needed depending on how many stores actually order the book. We have, I think when we last shipped a book in 2024, we were at 32 books that were taking shipments. I think we're actually down to 28 at the moment, but I'll know more once I reach out to those comic book shops and we go over that. I think that's going to be a big deal. But when you're talking about, like $500 for cover art or something like that, making making a little bit of money at 2,000 or 3,000 or whatever is no big deal. But the $1,000 goal will just be enough to let us definitely cover the shipping. When we print 500, it'll pay a little bit of that printing cost as well, and then Nick and I will sell books to make the money back. I will say that if we can make like say 6,000 or so, then I'll actually be able to take and pay Nick like a page rate, which I think will be appreciated by him because I sell a lot of books. Nick sells a lot of books, but I think that sometimes it's just easier to pay someone in cash. Even as a co-creator, it's just a little easier. And I don't mind selling books. I enjoy it, so I think that's a good thing. But yeah, this is Mixum. This is the price calculator without a company discount. Because like I said, I logged out, and mine's not showing up anyway. But I didn't want to accidentally dox my credentials. But nice material to have in your toolkit. Now the thing too is that I will go through here just so the Mixum guys are aware of this. I will go through here and I will test the calculations for other printers to see if I can get a better deal, because that lets me put more copies in my hands and Nick's hands, lets us have that extra material to sell and get out into the world, right? Which I think is a big deal. Now, when you think about it, right, let's say that we are going according to plan, we print like 1,000 books, right? So we print 1,000 books, they're $1.53 a piece or whatever it is, and we're selling them to retailers at $2.50. So we're making about 90 something cents a book. Well, if we do 300 of those, that's only like $270. It's not a lot of money as far as the net profit goes, but every little bit helps. And so you get that out there into the world, you build more fans and sell more books down the road. You get more people familiar with your brand, and then sales start to come. We see a lot of stuff in our digitals through Drive-Thru Comics and Drive-Thru RPGs. That's always great to see. I haven't checked that in a while. Let me make sure I'm not about to dox myself. Let me see here. Good, I'm not even logged in. Let's get in here for a moment. Drive-Thru, Sinopa. There's our titles. I haven't been here in a few days, so we've got a bunch of sales notifications. Oh, we've got a bunch of notifications period in here. Everyone's doing sales. Cool deal. Bloat Games, good people. Rocket Punch Press, good people. All right, let's see here. How are we? Oh, yeah. Well, that's cool. You log off. So for what you guys are wondering about, I was in here looking to see what our sales were looking like, and they are coming along pretty nicely, actually. So huge thanks to everybody. Let's see here. So we're on Drive-Thru RPG. We're going to show off the Sinopa store so you guys can see what we're doing. All right, share screen, Drive-Thru, share. All right, cool deal. So keep in mind that every title here has been crowdfunded, every single one of them. So hottest titles: Tipping Her Time Traveling Psychedelic Mushrooms, 47 Furious Tales. Newest stuff in here: Necroholic issue 3 and Tibby Reign of Ages issue 3. This is just like the reverse chronology, but you're going to find that, and I really like this too, is that we do get feedback through our stars. And I think our overall rating is like 4.8 or something like that. So huge thanks to everyone who's been leaving reviews on our stuff. Um, that's always cool to see. Tale of the Wizard's Eye was our first book, and this really needs to be reformatted. I really need to revise and reformat this. I've learned a lot since we did that the last time. It's a good adventure. It's designed to be played in a single adventure setting. And we've had playtest groups that did that. We had other people who say there's no way they did that. But there's ways that you can do it that will actually really stretch the thing out. And we've seen a lot of people enjoy that. But really great to see people enjoying the stuff. Santa Dragon Claus presents 25 holiday themed Magic Items 2018. So, God, hard to believe. 8 years ago. Right? 8 years ago? God. That book did not successfully fund on Kickstarter. Zach Viola and I decided to do a project last minute in the end of the season, the holidays for Christmas. And this is the idea we came up with. And lo and behold, we put the book together. We did the crowdfunding. We did not reach goal. We didn't even come close. But the book was done. So we went, and Zach and I had a conversation, and we sent the digital version of it out for free to everyone who had backed the campaign. And then we sent them the print on demand codes that they would have gotten if the campaign had been successful. We wished them all a Merry Christmas, and then we went about our way. And in the background, I've assigned almost all of the royalties. Now, Drive-Thru gets 35%, and then I think 60% are allocated to Zach. So if you ever want to support a fantastic artist, Zach Viola, and you're a D&D fan, this is a great way to do it. This is such a fun book. He did a really great job with the sketch style art. Really, really fun. Death Comes to Glen Follow. We're going to be bringing the print version for $20 to the campaign. That's a great, great book. And then Steel Road, which was myself and Zach Viola. This is another great piece of work that he did. Just absolutely great time. So, yep. Anyway, sorry, I got lost in the sauce there for a minute, guys. Sorry about it. The key point is that this is a fantastic resource. Drive-Thru Comics, Drive-Thru RPG, Drive-Thru Fiction. There are multiple different websites, and you can cross-populate your products on each platform in that same family. So, for example, you'll find the comics on Drive-Thru Comics, the RPGs on here on Drive-Thru RPG, and the ones that I've decided to cross-pollinate, the comics on Drive-Thru RPG, for example, you'll find those as well. And we'll add, Reign of Ages 4 here once that's ready to be fulfilled. We will add the next Tarot Adventure book when I'm done with it, after fulfillment's done, and just keep on using this, because what happens here is people come to the website, they find your stuff, they buy your stuff, and you get paid a royalty. And a royalty is a good thing because it's actually taxed a little differently in some ways, I should say. For example, I don't pay a sales tax on royalties I earned, but the site collects a sales tax based on where you're buying it, right? So if you're in Kentucky and you buy something here, it charges you the Kentucky sales tax because they tax everything for sales in Kentucky except for food items. I think it's the only thing, maybe medications. Don't quote me on that. I don't work in tax law at all. Not an attorney, I'm paralegal. That's why I say that. All right, let's get out of this then. I know we're covering a lot of stuff tonight, guys, so stick with me because we're going to be doing a lot today. Stop sharing that. Cool. Whew. But like I said, we'll go through and I'll recalculate everything for the crowdfunding campaign like we're doing here. We're checking the numbers on the printing. We're going to check the numbers on the shipping costs and how I'll be doing that. And I'm not going to show that here because I don't want to dox any of my backers. I have shipping software through stamps.com, I can go through and I can pull up addresses in far flung jurisdictions. So I can look at the guys who are in Alaska, who are in California, who are in Hawaii, the guys who are in Florida, the guys who are in Maine, the guys who are in Israel, the guys who are in South Africa, the guys who are in Australia, the guys who are in the EU, the guys who are in the UK, the one dude in the Ukraine, the guys in Japan. You guys rock, by the way. Thank you. And go ahead and calculate out the exact shipping costs so that I know how much it's going to cost me to ship to them, what I need to charge them to accommodate the Kickstarter fee, and everything else that accommodates that. So, for example, I know how much my bag and board, my bubble wrap, and my Gemini mailer cost, right? So I can factor that in the packaging, factor that into what the postage is, multiply it by the difference on the Kickstarter fee, and make sure that I have it. Now, I personally don't pay myself for the hours I spend packaging and shipping stuff. A lot of people will call that lunacy. I don't. I think that I'm getting paid on the back end anyway with the book sales. I think I'm okay. Now, if I start seeing like, I don't know, 1,000 or 2,000 backers or something, then yeah, maybe I'm gonna have to use a fulfillment service because I don't want people waiting for 3 weeks while I'm grinding through it, right? But with 200, 300 backers, I can get that done in a weekend. Digital packaging, all that's something easily doable. I would love to see what it takes for me to fulfill 500 backers. So when we start sharing out the Kickstarter link, definitely let us know. And that's it for the comic and crowdfunding and business stuff. And now let's talk about some funky, weird shit, okay? Because we got a few minutes, and I think it's worth discussing. So I was laid up for a few days, right? I had dental surgery. I had to take pain medication for it. Knocked me out for most of the day. But what I kept seeing across my social media feeds when I'd wake up was stuff about the U.S. War Department, formerly the Department of Defense, releasing previously classified UAP, UFO information. Now, I have not gone through that data. I have watched a few different people who have gone through at least part of that data and spoken on it. So I've seen stuff from like Clownfish TV, Asmongold, a few others, right? And then, of course, a plethora of stuff on social media. My first impression is that it's not much different than anything they've released in the past. We really don't know, from what I've seen anyway, much more than people have had experiences that they've testified about. People have told investigators at the FBI certain things, and these are things that we've heard about since I was a kid in the 70s. So, not much of any real difference. Now, there's been some folks who have made comparisons about one of the alien craft descriptions, which sounds a lot like the description of an angel by, I believe, Ezekiel is who described it. There was circle within circles and fire coming down continuously from it and things of that nature. I don't have the exact quote in front of me, which I find interesting. But a lot of ancient texts have these stories of these fiery chariots in the sky, or beings in the heavens that come down and interact with humans and humanity and influence them in a certain way. Whether it's the story of Prometheus, the myth of Prometheus gifting fire to humans, or the large war barges fighting in the sky in the tales of ancient India. There's just a lot there that I think is pretty interesting. Now, Am I saying aliens are walking among us? No, I'm not saying that. The pessimist in me says that we ourselves have not yet formulated a good way to traverse interstellar distances. That does not mean that there isn't such a way. And as we see, we have many scientists all over the world pursuing a variety of different theories and ideas and different mathematics to try and unlock a means of functional, faster than light, or warp travel. And there's a difference between the two. What if there is such a way, if it is actually possible, and some other civilization has developed that, or other multiple civilizations have developed that? Would they find us at all interesting? I don't know. And then I take a look around and I say, well, Earth certainly isn't boring. We still have war. We definitely have war. Um, we are a species that is really only in the last 10,000 years or so of recorded history. Well, maybe that's being generous saying 10,000 years. We'll call it this. Within like the last 10,000 years that we've been able to identify, um, we've gone from hunter gatherers to people who are launching reusable rockets, who have journeyed to their moon on a planet with really a very significant gravity well. The Earth, while it's not a super Earth or what have you, if our gravity was even, I don't know, even probably it's somewhere around the 10% mark, maybe as low as like 7%. But if the gravity was just a little bit higher, our chemical rockets wouldn't be able to break orbit. It is not a little thing when you think about Earth gravity. Compare that to Mars gravity. Even compare that to Venus. Venus's gravity is closer to ours, but the difference between the two for what you need to lift off is immense, because the rocket equation is a merciless, merciless, merciless thing, and that force of gravity trying to tie you to the ground while you're trying to blow yourself away from it, that is incredibly consequential. Um, so imagine, if you had a civilization that had come about on a world that had maybe 91% of our gravity. Um, Even if they had like a more dense atmosphere, the rocket equation would have meant that their propellant based rockets would have been much more successful, have a much easier time breaking orbit and getting out into outer space than, or I should say this more precisely, chemical rockets in a gravity environment of like point 0.9 of Earth would have a far easier time reaching escape velocity than ours do now. And of course, that's also kind of dependent upon the rotational speed of the body in question, the actual diameter of the object as well, because escape velocity has a lot of components to it. Um, but if such a civilization did exist, I like to think that we're not very interesting until I actually think about it. And then I realize that there's always something going on here. And it's very primitive. It's very instinct driven. We are still competing over resources, even though the big challenge for us isn't the quantity of resources, it's the transportation and distribution of those resources that really hangs us up. Um, we have, in some areas, scarcity that is entirely unnecessary, but is still carried out through design, whether that be for business purposes or political purposes, you make your own judgment on that. But I think that maybe we would be more interesting to a civilization that didn't have that experience within their living memory. So, for example, if you had a species that had a similar age range to humans, and they hadn't had war in 1,000 years, conflict was nearly non-existent, crime was nearly non-existent. They had reached a Kardashev level where they were harvesting the energy of their star, were comfortably living not just on their home planet, but on other celestial bodies. Though space, as far as living space, wasn't an issue. They were able to finally leave their solar system and travel to other spaces. And they come and they see Earth, and we are essentially monkeys with nuclear weapons. I imagine they'd be like, holy crap, what the hell are these guys doing? And then you say, well, that's all fine, well, and good, right? But wouldn't they just sit back and watch? Yeah, I mean, I would think so. But then again, are we talking about creatures that have eyes like we do that sense, light energy the way we do? Or are they more scent oriented or sound oriented? Is it a species that determines the presence of things by echolocation, for example? Or is it an underwater species who really rely heavily on tactile sensations and scents that are carried in the water? I mean, there's a whole collage of different biologies. And then, hey, what if it's not even a biological entity? Perhaps it's an artificial construct, a robot with an artificial intelligence, or a transferred intelligence. And so the memories of their biological needs may have been vanished from their, or vanished, may have been removed from their core memory to make dealing with eons of travel through space bearable. So, what if you have some type of robot entity, mechanical entity, non biological entity that arrives in the soul system and sees this curious little blue marble of a planet with a oddly high a level of gravity for its size and a reasonably dense atmosphere, just swarmed with billions of these bipeds who go about their day in this incredible amount of chaos, and they farm and they harvest and they manufacture and they ship stuff between each other, and they pollute and they send strange signals in multiple different languages, and they somehow communicate with each other. And then every once in a while they just go off and just start killing each other. That would have to be like the strangest sensation, the strangest thing to discover if you were of a species that didn't have anything like that in your living memory. Something that, again, we're saying if you were in a human lifespan, it would have been like 1,000 years. But if you're an alien probe or a mechanical entity or an entity that lives like a turtle, like 3, 4, or 500 years, or a whale, I mean, something might not have happened like that in 10,000 years or 100,000 years for your experience. And hey, Larry, me and Nick still live on the channel, now stream sniping you. Okay, cool. Good to see you, man. I was actually talking good things about Nick. I hope he heard them, because otherwise he wouldn't believe them. Larry Patrick Higgins, Niobe Comics, everybody. So definitely check him out. I believe that Niobe is still on late pledges. Larry, is that not correct? Go ahead and make sure you post your link in there so people can get to it, okay? Because we've had people bounce in and out, and we will. Man, my hair's a mess. We will have probably several people who will check this out after the fact. So definitely do that. But yeah, we're talking about aliens and alien disclosures right now because we've already done the comics and the Kickstarters and business stuff. We got about 10 more minutes. So, but I think that, yeah, maybe humanity at first glance doesn't seem as interesting to me because I live amongst humanity. I am human, and I do. It is correct. Cool. So, yeah, Niobe is in late pledges on Kickstarter, guys. If you haven't read Niobe comics before, this is a great chance to get to it, whether digital or in print. Either way, definitely check it out. Niobe, Nyobi. Absolutely fantastic work by Larry and his team. Shameless plug for my buddies. And yay, cool. We've got the link in the chat. This is outbreak number 5. This is actually a really cool story so far. I am really looking forward to getting my book. I can't wait. But yeah, being human, it seems your first thought is like, well, humans aren't really all that interesting. We are stuck at a painfully small percentage of any type of relativistic uh, speed. Off air will be open. Okay. I don't know if I'll make it or not, but I'll let you know. We're confined to one planet. We are not in active communication, or at least that we know of, with any other intelligent species. We're very violent, very, very, very violent. And I don't mean just as a species. I mean individually, we can be very violent. I'm a relatively calm dude, but I've been involved in violence many, many, many times. Not proud of it. It's just the way it is. I hope that maybe in some of these disclosures we will see something that leads us, I should say, to what they are really trying to disclose. Because in a lot of ways, this seems like more of an effort of the government just to, I shouldn't say the government, of certain politicians to kind of divert attention or maybe to placate some of the base. Don't get me wrong. I always love a good alien disclosure thing. I think it's always fun. But I've never seen anything on any of these disclosures that really made me say, hey, we can definitely say that there are aliens, or that we can definitely say that there aren't aliens. And of course, with the proliferation of AI videos now, that's going to become harder and harder as people, are actively making uh, crank videos, these fake little encounters, um, just to stir up stuff, just to get some likes on the internet and maybe generate themselves enough money for a Whopper. Or do they still make the Whopper? I don't know. I don't eat at McDonald's or Burger King very often. I'm more of a Chick-fil-A guy. That's just me. But I don't know, man. The fun that we have when we're talking a bunch of stuff. Now, we're about ready to close for the night, so just take a few other things real quick. If anyone else has any questions, comments, criticisms, or concerns, please go ahead and paste them up in the chat. Say hi to Larry and Nick for me. Also, guys, I want to thank you all for being here. When you're checking this out, for those of you who comment after the fact, those of you who are sharing the streams to different platforms and everything, I really appreciate you. This is, in part, this whole stream thing is a lot for me, just to get a chance to, I guess, vomit stuff out of my mind, and address certain topics that I'm passionate about. Certainly, being a creator and making comics and role playing games is a huge part of what I like to do. And I hope that when we do these, it helps other creators who are coming up and that they can learn things that are useful to them. But the other thing, too, I want to make sure on every single stream, and we close out with this every night, wherever you are, whatever your circumstances, I hope that you're taking any medications that you need, that you're staying hydrated, that you're telling the people who love you and that you care for that you love them as well, and that you're finding your peace, your happiness, and that you're enjoying your human experience. And so, in a world where you can choose to be anything, I hope that you can choose to be kind. And with that, ladies and gentlemen, I am Sam Quinton with Sinopa Publishing right here in Frankfort, Kentucky. Y'all have a wonderful night.